Welcome into the I-80 Boys College Football Show, our Week 0 preview show, Chris. Felt like we would never get here. Chris, what is your thoughts? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Been a long time coming. I'm excited. We got, 4 games on Saturday, week 0, as you said. I'm pretty pumped about it, though, man. I think this will be good. It'll be good for us college football nuts out here to watch some actually meaningful football being played. So, yeah. With that said, Christian, I'm pumped though, man. I was thinking about it the other night. I was like, damn, can't wait to just sit down Saturday and watch some goddamn college football.
I'm right there with you. I am right there alongside of you. I think this will be it's gonna be a good weekend. Like we're talking about. We said this earlier today. It's like, well, Georgia Tech, Florida State playing each other. If you put this game in the middle of the season, I don't think it's nowhere near this kind of buildup, right? But the fact that it's the first game of the year, it's in Ireland, like it just builds more hype to it, and I think that's why everyone's talking about this shit to death.
Oh yeah, no, and like I said, it should be a good game, man. I will say that with this Florida State Georgia Tech game, it's funny, you hear a lot of different things. A lot of people have had time to sit here and look at this game and dissect it. Right, any channel you look at so far is it's littered with this game. A lot of different takes out there, man. We've seen some crazy ones. I've seen Florida State roll by 21 or more. We've seen Georgia Tech, people betting the money line. So I think this game's going to be fun to watch. Hopefully, we're on the right side of that. I know me and you kind of predicted to be within a score. So, but yeah, man. With that being said, dude, I'm just ready, dude. I'm pumped. Like, as you can tell, I'm getting all giddy thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, Chris, we'll talk about some of the news going on around college football. Then we'll jump into some of the games here and look at them. Nebraska names the touted Frosh Raiola, the starting quarterback. Comes to a surprise to absolutely no one, I
think. Yeah. I laugh when I read these things, Christian. We talked about it earlier. It's just, yeah, this kid, I hate to say this. I think he already had a deal that he was coming over here and probably going to start before we even signed him. I mean, I think that was part of the deal, having family on the team. The whole thing, right? He pulled out of Georgia. We know this kid's good. He's been talked about as the greatest since he's been in junior high. So I expect good things out of him. I expect the kid to come out there and play well week 1 against UTEP. So any thoughts on that, Christian? I know he left your boys, the Georgia Bulldogs, to come to Nebraska. We talked about that quite a bit last year.
Yeah, bittersweet. I think that, good for him, though, man. Like I said, I mean, if they didn't start him, I would have more questions, right? Like what the hell are you doing, right? You're playing UTEP, start the year off. You got to start the guy. You let him get his chops in early there, right? And I think Raiola, again, best thrower of the football, out of this freshman class. And I would say obviously leaps and bounds better what was on the roster last year for sure. So yeah, I think it's good for you guys. Like I said, I mean, I think that he'll end up being a really good player for Nebraska.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see him play. Honestly, like I said, he's been heralded as one of the greats, one of the better recruits that we've ever had, especially in the last 15 to 20 years. So hopefully, week 1 here, he steps out there and they let him loose. Big question though, obviously, too, Christian, can they protect him? You know what I mean? Yeah. Keep him upright.
100%. Oklahoma lands themselves a really good offensive line commit. There, won't try to say that name because I'm probably going to mess it up. Susi or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, Alabama, speaking of recruiting, Alabama, man, they've been on a tear this offseason. I think that was the question about DeBoer. Could he come over with Saban leaving? Could he keep the recruiting train going? And he has. I mean, he's inked a lot of really good players. Now, again, as the season plays out, they may start losing some games. They might start losing some commits. This is a very early time. But when you build out a class like this, you're going to get a good chunk of these guys probably to cross the finish line for you.
Yeah, one thing about Bama, they never lack any talent anywhere. Those, Crimson Tide, man. I tell you what, dude, it's going to be a good year for them. I do. I think that, like I said, I was talking about this on my betting video about Alabama, Christian. I swear, every offseason, I start the year off being down on Bama and think maybe this is the year that they, I know there's no Saban, but that they don't do as well. And then it's like right before the season starts, man, I'm like back on the train with Bama, dude. So, yeah. Early in the year, though, for recruiting, but doesn't surprise me. Bama is always loaded.
100%. Chris, we'll move on here. Oklahoma State putting QR codes that go directly to the NIL fund. What age we are living in?
I guess I just don't agree with this stuff. We talked about it a little bit the other day. It's just like this whole NIL thing. They need to get the clamps down on this thing a little bit. I'm not against paying players or anything like that. It's just this whole asking for money 24/7. You see it all over the place. These kids are getting paid a lot of money anyway. They're also getting a free education. I just bigger and more importantly, I don't want this becoming the NFL.
No, 100%. And that's what it is. I mean, because right below that, you see Bama agree. They have a GM. You know what I'm saying? They have a general manager. You're like, what the hell, dude? This is college. This isn't the NFL, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. No, it's nuts, man. I saw that today too. I was like, holy shit. I was shaking my head over that. It's like, this is just becoming more and more like the NFL. You know, sadly though, Christian, I'm still going to watch it. It's just, I always like the difference between college football and the NFL. You know what I mean? That's what kind of distinguished both of those from each other was, you know, players played hard in college. They didn't get paid a whole ton of money. And the NFL was, you know, pretty much a player driven league. Now college football has become a player driven league. It really has.
100%. I mean, it is a very player driven league, you know, and I got to bash on ESPN for this next one here, Chris. Injury prone quarterback Jalen Daniels to start for Kansas. I mean, come on, just say Jalen Daniels is going to start for Kansas. You know what I mean? Why go out there and why not say injury prone quarterback, like you said, Quinn Ewers to start for Texas this year?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. That was kind of, I mean, I know he's been hurt, but I mean, we could say that about a lot of quarterbacks. Yeah, I thought that was a little harsh ESPN wise there, but that kid is really good though. It'll be fun to see what Kansas does this year. He's a big piece of that, why they're as highly rated as they are to start the season.
100%. Yankee Conference title revisited first since 96. I think it's a 2-team conference. I don't think it's like major football at all, so it's not really newsworthy, but just wanted to bring that up. Pete Carroll returns to USC. Just going to teach class there, I guess. Just kind of figure his next move out. Said he's not done at the age of 72 with coaching yet, so it's crazy.
He's a legend, though, man. He's a legend. I liked him at USC, what he did at that program, and then obviously his time in Seattle, man. He was one of the very few college coaches to win a national title in college and then win one in the NFL and be successful. Usually you don't see that. So, yeah, I like myself some Pete Carroll, but, man, he does not look the age of 72, dude. The guy runs up and down the sideline chewing that gum like he's a 30-year-old man out there. So, yeah.
Well, Chris, we'll kind of get into some of the games here. We'll start off with Georgia Tech, Florida State. The game's Saturday at 11 o'clock Central Time, 12 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, man. I mean, what are your thoughts about this game? I know we've talked about it up and down until we're blue in the face. You know, you starting to lean a little more Georgia Tech the closer this game gets.
No. If anything, I'm probably leaning more as far as Florida State. I did predict this game to be within 10 points, but I'm going to stand by that. I bet it, but yeah, I think this game will be a good game for about a half, Christian. I do. I think Florida State, though, in the end, I think the defense is going to be very good. The only thing here, if you want to make a case for Georgia Tech possibly winning this game, Christian, I think a couple things got to go right. One, they got to be able to stop the run, right? They can't be allowing over 5 yards per carry like they did last year. Their run defense was horrible. If they could get up early, and I mean by maybe 10 points, and put the pressure on DJU to throw the ball, yeah, I think you'd be in for a football game. That's how I could kind of see that working out for Georgia Tech. Does that necessarily mean they win the game? No, but I think, you know, that would help them out if they can sustain a couple drives. I know it sounds basic, but Haynes King, you let him loose, dude. The kid can run. He ran for almost 700 yards last year, had 9 touchdowns. If they can get it open and going, and they got that sophomore receiver Singleton, dude, he's a pretty good player as well. That's kind of my way for Georgia Tech staying in that game. Like I said, I think it's going to be close for a half. I want to hear your thoughts, though, how you see this game playing out.
Yeah, I think you said it exactly right. Georgia Tech on defense, we know last year they were one of the worst in the country as far as just total defense and whatnot. So they got to be better on that standpoint, right? So you have to be better and be, again, this is just take it one game at a time, right? All you got to do is just be better than that this game, right? You got to come together in a neutral site game in Ireland, early ass kickoff, and just be good for this one game, okay, on defense. Got to force them to throw the ball. Try to shut down that run, maybe even stack the box, do some things that are a little unconventional, right? We saw it last year. I remember we saw last year with, was it Colorado versus TCU? And I remember when you watched that game, it looked like guys were 15 yards off the ball. Don't do that, okay? I understand Florida State has some receivers. They have some guys that can make you pay. Don't be that walked off, okay? Make DJU beat you. Come up, press, stop the run, contain it, add in another guy in the box there, do what you got to do, force DJU to beat you. If DJU beats you by throwing for 400 yards, so be it. Live and die by shutting that run down. Secondarily, right, on offense, Georgia Tech is going to have to take advantage of a lot of new pieces on this Florida State team kind of stepping in there, right? I think offensively, you know, they were really good. They were a top 15 team last year in the fewest sacks allowed. So that was pretty good. You know, they're going to try to run the ball. Like I talked about Notre Dame and Navy last year, Georgia Tech, if they want to win this, run the ball, control the clock, keep the ball away from Florida State. The more Florida State has that ball, the more chances DJU is going to have at trying to figure things out, right? When you get a bunch of new people playing, you know, on one side of the ball, the worst thing you can do, give them a bunch of cracks at it. So that's my whole takes on it.
Yeah, no, and I agree with your statement there. Like I said, you know, Georgia Tech limit the turnovers. You know, Haynes King got a little erratic last year. I think he threw like 16 interceptions. If he can keep that down, no turnovers, the defense can shut down that run. Because I can guarantee you, Florida State is going to try to pound the ball. I almost guarantee. I bet my money on that. You know, if they can shut that down, like you said, make DGU try to beat you. I'm not saying he's not capable of throwing the ball for 350 yards and a couple scores. But I'd rather see that than, you know, letting their running backs, and they got a slew of them, Florida State does, with Trey Benson being gone, pounding the rock for 5 yards of carry against you. They're going to be in for a long game. Then it'll be a 29-30 blowout. I mean, honestly, Georgia Tech, I don't think is really capable of playing from behind. One thing I will say about Georgia Tech, though, that really helps them in this game off of previous history, Christian, is the fact that last year I was looking at spreads and, you know, I bet and all that other crap. They do really well against teams that they're supposed to get blown out by or 10-point underdogs in. They played everybody tough. Miami, remember that last year? I know the boneheaded call at the end of the game. They ended up winning that one. They played Georgia. They were 20-point underdogs in that game. Played Georgia super tough. So I could see Georgia Tech. They're no stranger to this. But like you said, the defense has got to come to play, get some pressure, and be able to shut down that run if they want to hang in this one.
100%. We'll take a look at some other games that are going on. Montana State at New Mexico. Give me New Mexico, son.
Oh.
Like I said, give me New Mexico.
Okay. All right. I'm taking Montana State there in that one.
Are you really?
Yeah, man. They're 10-point favorites, I think, last I looked. I think, what's it say on here? 11.5. Montana State. New Mexico's a bad team, Christian. You need to get your Mountain West teams in order. They're not very good. Give me Montana State. Watch you pick an upset here on a game like this until we come next week.
Come on now, son. Yeah. Tell me when last time Montana State moved into the Division I college football FBS level now.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I wouldn't sleep on them. I did read a little bit about this game. That's the only reason why I know anything about it. I was thinking about betting. And you know me, as a degenerate gambler, I will be betting. You said it.
All right. Home game for New Mexico, so we'll see down there in Albuquerque.
Absolutely.
SMU at Nevada. This is probably going to be the second this is going to probably be the second best game on this weekend, I would say.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, man, SMU this year, we talked about it a little bit the other day. You know, they won 10 games last year. I think they went 10-3 overall. Sneaky good team over in the ACC this year, man. I'm telling you, if you haven't paid attention, they brought back a ton of production, top 15 offense, top 15 defense last year. Only team in the country to say that.
They move over to the ACC. It gets a little harder for them, but yeah, you're right. A lot of people sleeping on SMU, right? There's a lot of sleeper picks there for SMU.
Yeah, Nevada, 10 team, man. Not a very good team.
I agree with you. I think SMU, they'll probably take care of business, even though it's on the road, later game, whatever, who cares? I think they're a more talented team, so I agree with you. Looking ahead here a little bit, Chris, you got Delaware State at Hawaii. Hawaii favored by 39. That's got to be like the biggest opening line Hawaii's been favored in a long time, right?
You know what's funny is Delaware State, obviously not a very good team. And I had read something this morning. They actually missed their bus time this morning to get down to Hawaii or wherever they were flying from. So it doesn't shock me that Delaware State doesn't want to probably play that game. But what I will say, though, Hawaii next week plays UCLA, Christian. Any interest in Hawaii over the Bruins next week?
Let me tell you something. Where's that game at? Is it going to be at Hawaii or is it going to be
I don't even remember. I'd have to look.
Let's just look.
I'm pretty sure it's UCLA, though. You're fighting rainbows over there.
When you say they play next Saturday?
Let me look here. I can look up on mine. UCLA. Hawaii, Saturday, 8:31. It is at Hawaii.
Okay. I know Deshaun Foster, the coach that kind of didn't get through his media day press conference or whatever it was at UCLA.
Yeah,
He
really
froze
struggling
up.
there.
Give me UCLA, man. Come on.
No, I agree. I just had to throw that out there, see if you were on the Fighting Rainbows after week 0.
This is probably the only time this year they're going to be favored like by that much.
I would say so. Hawaii's it's got to be tough to recruit down there, man. I know the weather's nice, but damn.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but got to be one of those beautiful places to like visit. Like I would imagine, like it'd be great, like you know what I'm saying, like to go play football there and stuff. But yeah, got to be really tough to recruit. You don't see a lot of like big name guys going to Hawaii.
No, I don't even know if I can name any. You know, you remember the days when they used to sling the ball for like 70, 80 times a game with Timmy Chang and Colt Brennan, guys like that that all played. Yeah, I remember those days. I can't remember who the hell their head coach was, but God, dude, they used to just.
Was it Norm Chow? Is that who was Norm Chow?
That might have been it. Yeah, you might be right there. But they used to sling the ball all over the field back in those days. They actually weren't too bad then, but yeah.
Oh.
Can't believe we're talking Hawaii football. Holy shit.
Oh, well, Chris, what else? What else you got on there, man? I mean, this is pretty quick moving.
Not a lot for week 0 games, man. Only 4 of them. I mean, next week we got a whole slew of games. That'll be fun. We'll be on here. Talking a lot of football next week, but I'm just happy, like I said, man, just to get a kickoff of somebody playing. At least it's a interconference. I don't know if you want to call it a rivalry or not, but at least a little football being played, meaningful football. I think we're going to find out a lot about Florida State and Georgia Tech. That's for sure. What type of teams they are after Saturday.
Yeah, man. Like you said, I mean, not a lot of like big football going on. Like right now, there's not a ton of news coming out about college football. There's just that kind of calm before the storm. After this week, everything kind of ramps up. You'll get more, in-depth coverage, I would say, of a lot of different games and stuff. It'll be there's a lot more to talk about. That week 1 slate, we were just looking at it. I mean, you talking about 5-6 games on there that are just like chef's kiss, there. And there's probably 30 or 40 different games that kind of live up to this Florida State, Georgia Tech hype right now, right? That we're talking about. So,
absolutely. You remember Nebraska a couple of years ago played Northwestern over there. That was the big game, I remember two not very good teams playing in that game, but it got a lot of hype strictly just because it was the first game of the year. So,
what was it? I mean, 3 win. I mean, I think Northwestern won 1 game that year, and Nebraska only won like three games.
Yeah,
like that?
Yeah, we won. We won four games that year. They had won 1. Their only game win that year was over us in Ireland. So that was painfully tough. But that's what you get when you got Scott Frost as the head coach. So
you got frosted, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Got frosted. Well, I think we're approaching the 17-minute mark. It's week 0. There's not really a whole lot to talk about. I don't really have anybody in here. So I think, we'll probably just, we'll probably call it a good show. And like I said, we'll be back on Saturday. I think the Saturday show will be a little better. We'll be on at 9:30, kind of doing a little more in-depth with it, just kind of messing around, answering questions. Just happy that college football is back on. Chris, anything you want to say before we get off?
No, that's really all I got. Yeah, short vid today. Nothing really going on in the college football world. Like you said, the calm before the storm. And, we'll be on Saturday morning. Hopefully we got a little more people in there, and we'll answer some questions and get hyped up for this Georgia Tech Florida State game.
We all stay salty, San Diego, classy San Diego, and we will see you back